Not long ago, a single appearance on the red carpet sent shockwaves across the internet. People rubbed their eyes, scrolled back twice, and whispered to themselves, "Is that really Meghan Trainor?" The same woman who once stood proud, celebrating her curves in the anthem All About That Bass, suddenly walked into the spotlight with a body so transformed that fans said she looked almost unrecognizable. Headlines exploded, social media was set on fire, and conversations about self-image, health, and change reached every corner of the world. Wisdom Beyond 60, dear everyone, what you are about to hear is more than just a celebrity story. It is a mystery, a spark that forces us to look deeper, not only into the choices Meghan made, but also into the mirror we hold up to our own lives. Why does a young star's transformation matter so much? Why does it stir emotions in people thousands of miles away, across every generation? Because behind the glamour and flashing cameras lies a truth we all wrestle with. How far are we willing to go to feel better in our own skin, and at what cost? Imagine this. A global pop star steps onto the stage of life, no longer the figure we thought we knew. She smiles, she poses, but around her the whispers grow louder. Some cheer and call it inspiring. Others raise eyebrows and wonder what she gave up along the way. The beauty of this moment is not in the dress she wore, or the lights above her, but in the question it plants in us. When someone changes so dramatically, do we celebrate the courage, or do we question the path? This story hooks us because it touches the hidden fears and longings of every person, young or old. We all want to feel alive in our bodies, to look into the mirror and smile, to carry ourselves with confidence in front of others. And yet, transformation always carries a shadow. What did it take? What struggles were fought in silence? And how does this connect to the journey of those of us who have lived 60 years or more, who know better than anyone that true change is never only about appearance? Stay with me, because as we unravel Meghan Trainor's dramatic shift, we will uncover something even more valuable: timeless lessons for every stage of life. Especially for those of us beyond 60, her story is not just about a number on the scale, but about resilience, identity, and the desire to keep evolving no matter what age the calendar shows. If you're finding yourself leaning closer, if curiosity is stirring in your chest, that is exactly where this journey begins. We will peel back the layers of this transformation, compare it to the challenges of aging, and see what wisdom can be drawn from a world that often values image more than essence. But I promise you this, by the end, you won't be left with gossip. You'll be left with insight that you can apply to your own days, your own health, and your own sense of purpose. Before we dive deeper, I kindly ask, support this channel by subscribing to Beyond 60 Wisdom. Your encouragement is what fuels me to keep bringing stories, lessons, and reflections that matter to your life. Each subscription is not just a number, it is a voice telling us, yes, keep going, we want more. Now let me leave you with a question to ponder, one that I want you to answer honestly in the comments below. Which matters more to you today? A. Looking different in the eyes of others. B. Feeling strong and at peace within yourself. Write your choice, A or B, in the comment section, and let's see where our community truly stands. When the spotlight turned to Meghan Trainor's transformation, many people assumed it was the result of a single choice, a sudden decision that changed everything overnight. But the truth is far more layered, and it deserves to be seen in its full complexity. Behind the photographs and the viral videos was a deliberate process built from many different pieces: medical guidance, physical discipline, personal experimentation, and emotional endurance. Nothing about her journey was instant. It was instead a combination of factors that she wove together over time, each one carrying its own challenges and consequences. One part of Meghan's story that drew attention was her openness about using medical support. She admitted that after struggling with her weight following pregnancy, she sought the help of a prescription treatment now commonly known for assisting with weight management. But she was careful to explain that this was not a magic fix. It was monitored by professionals, tied closely to a healthier routine, and used as a tool rather than a sole solution. That level of transparency, acknowledging the role of modern medicine without pretending it can replace effort, is something rare in the celebrity world, and it struck a chord with many who have walked their own uphill battles with health. Yet medication was only one piece. Meghan also dedicated herself to reshaping her daily habits. With the help of trainers and nutrition experts, she built a plan focused on balance instead of extremes. She learned to measure her portions, to choose foods that fueled her rather than dragged her down, and to move her body consistently. This was not about starving herself or pushing until she collapsed, but about sustaining changes that could last. Her decision to highlight this part of the process is crucial, because too often we hear only about the shocking before and after, without understanding the work in between. At the same time, she was not afraid to explore aesthetic enhancements. Meghan shared that she underwent breast surgery and at certain points experimented with treatments like Botox or lip flips. She was candid about how some of these choices made her feel more confident, while others left her questioning if they aligned with her true self. That honesty is striking, because it shows that even with resources and access, not every procedure delivers the satisfaction we expect. It is a reminder that physical changes can lift our confidence, but they can also spark new insecurities if we're not anchored in who we are. Perhaps the most revealing part of Meghan's journey is the way she framed it. She never claimed it was about chasing approval or fitting into someone else's standard. Instead, she spoke about wanting to feel strong again, to step into her role as a performer, a mother, and a woman with renewed energy. That motivation resonates deeply, because it is not about vanity, it is about reclaiming vitality. Many of us know what it feels like to look in the mirror and wish we could carry ourselves with more ease, not for applause, but for the way it changes how we live our everyday lives. When viewed together, the elements of her transformation paint a picture of balance, science and discipline, external changes and inner reflection, confidence gained and doubts faced. It is not a fairy tale of sudden perfection, but a layered story of trial, adjustment, and persistence. And this, in the end, is what makes her journey compelling. It reminds us that change is not a straight line. It is often messy, sometimes controversial, but always deeply human. As we peel back these layers, one truth becomes clear. Meghan's transformation was never just about appearance. It was about building a foundation of strength and self-trust. And in that sense, her story holds meaning for all of us, especially those in later chapters of life who still desire to feel lighter, freer, and more in control of the bodies we live in. What made Meghan Trainor's transformation so powerful was not only the physical results, but the emotional storm that followed. The public reaction was immediate and intense. Some praised her for her discipline and courage, while others criticized her, accusing her of betraying the very message of self-acceptance that once defined her. For Meghan, this mixture of applause and backlash was not easy to carry. She admitted that there were days when the harsh words brought her to tears. Days when the pressure of being a symbol became heavier than the weight she had actually lost. This is the part of her story that often gets overlooked. The inner struggle of maintaining confidence when the world has its eyes fixed on you. It is easy to look at photographs and see only the exterior, but every change of appearance carries with it a battle of the mind and heart. Meghan spoke about how important it was to anchor her decisions in her own sense of worth, not in the approval of strangers. That distinction matters. If her journey had been only about pleasing others, the transformation would have left her empty. Instead, she chose to frame it as a step towards strength, vitality, and the energy she needed to be a performer, a mother, and a woman who could look at herself with honesty. Yet even with this healthier mindset, she was not immune to criticism. Social media is relentless, and the comments poured in from every angle. Some said she looked unrecognizable. Others accused her of taking shortcuts. A few even claimed they preferred her old look. This is where the real test came. Would she shrink under the weight of those words? Or would she stand in her new identity and say, "This is who I am now"? Her response, often delivered with humor and defiance on TikTok, showed that she refused to let negativity define her. Instead of running from the spotlight, she leaned into it, sometimes even turning the criticism into playful moments of confidence. This aspect of her story reveals a deeper lesson about resilience. Change is never just about the body. It is always about the spirit that carries the body forward. Meghan's ability to face both admiration and doubt reflects something every person can relate to, especially as we grow older. When we make changes, whether in our habits, our appearance, or even our roles in life, there will always be voices that question our choices. What matters is whether we are grounded enough to keep moving anyway. Meghan's story also highlights the delicate balance between external validation and internal peace. Public figures are constantly judged, but the truth is, ordinary people feel the same scrutiny in their own communities. Friends, family, neighbors all have opinions when someone chooses to change. Meghan's choice to be open about her struggles shows that real confidence is not pretending the criticism doesn't hurt. Real confidence is feeling the sting, acknowledging it, and still moving forward with conviction. For those listening who have lived 6 decades or more, her journey may feel familiar in a different way. You know what it means to face judgment, to adapt to a body that no longer behaves the way it once did, and to endure whispers from people who do not know your story. Meghan's example is a reminder that the essence of transformation is not perfection, but persistence. The body can shift, the world can comment, but the heart remains your own to guard. In the end, what stands out most is her refusal to be defined by anyone else's narrative. Whether praised or criticized, she chose to see her transformation as an act of reclaiming control. And that, perhaps, is the most powerful truth of all. The ability to walk through the noise of the crowd, still hearing your own voice above it. When we take Meghan Trainor's story and hold it up against the reality of growing older, the parallels may surprise you. Her journey was about more than appearance. It was about reclaiming energy, strength, and self-respect. And that is exactly what many of us seek after 60. The truth is, weight and health take on new meaning as we age. Our bodies do not respond the way they once did. The metabolism slows down, muscle fades more quickly, and the same effort that once kept us steady now feels heavier. What was once a simple adjustment in diet or a few days at the gym becomes a challenge that tests both body and spirit. But this challenge does not mean defeat. It means that the rules of the game change, and we must change with them. The story of someone like Meghan can be an unexpected reminder that progress is always possible. But for us, the focus must shift from image to endurance. We do not chase the mirror. We protect our ability to live fully. After 60, every step toward balance, no matter how small, is an act of resilience. Healthy weight management at this stage is less about restriction and more about nourishment. It is choosing foods that support the body rather than burden it. More vegetables, lean proteins, whole grains, and water to keep every system running smoothly. It is not about punishing ourselves with diets, but about fueling a body that deserves respect. A lighter dinner, eaten earlier in the evening, can ease digestion. Spreading meals through the day instead of crowding them into one heavy sitting can help stabilize energy. These are not drastic tricks. They are gentle shifts that add up over time. Movement, too, must evolve. For younger bodies, the gym might be a place of intensity. For us, it becomes a place of preservation. Walking daily, climbing stairs instead of riding the elevator, stretching in the morning, lifting light weights to keep muscles awake, these simple acts protect mobility and independence. They guard us from frailty and keep our confidence alive. Meghan had trainers and structured workouts, but the principle is the same. Consistency, not perfection, creates results. And let us not forget the quieter elements that often get overlooked: sleep and stress. Poor sleep robs the body of repair. Constant worry tightens the chest and raises the scale. Creating a routine that invites rest, whether through warm tea, reading, or turning off screens earlier, is not luxury. It is medicine for the soul. Finding ways to soften stress, through prayer, meditation, or simply talking with someone who listens, helps the body let go of the extra weight it carries, both physically and emotionally. Perhaps the greatest lesson we can draw from Meghan's transformation is that change requires patience and courage no matter your age. She faced critics, yet chose to define her path on her own terms. We too will face voices, sometimes from family, sometimes from friends, sometimes from within, that question our choices. But if the goal is to feel strong enough to walk freely, to play with grandchildren, to rise each morning without the burden of exhaustion, then the voices outside no longer matter. So when we think of weight after 60, let us not reduce it to numbers. Let us think instead of freedom. The freedom to bend, to move, to laugh without shortness of breath, to walk a little further tomorrow than we did today. Meghan's story is not ours, but the truth inside it belongs to all of us. That the body is not fixed, that the spirit can still rise, and that even in later chapters, we have the power to write a healthier, stronger version of ourselves. What Meghan Trainor's story ultimately leaves us with is not just a tale of weight loss or transformation, but a doorway into a bigger conversation, one that each of us must face in our own way. Her journey forces us to ask, what does change really mean? Is it about how the world sees us, or is it about how we carry ourselves when the world isn't watching? And for those of us in later seasons of life, it reminds us that transformation does not belong only to the young. The spark to evolve, to seek strength, to claim joy, remains available no matter what age is printed on our birth certificate. This is why her experience can serve as a bridge to something deeper. Behind the headlines and debates lies a truth every older adult understands. The body is a companion we must take care of, and the mind is a voice we must train to be kind. If Meghan used her platform to highlight resilience in the face of criticism, then perhaps the lesson for us is to show resilience in the face of time itself. We do not have to step onto a red carpet to feel the weight of judgment. We already feel it in the quiet glances of others, and sometimes in the harsher whispers inside our own hearts. Think about what this means for those past 60. The focus can no longer be about squeezing into a certain size or meeting someone else's standard of beauty. Instead, it becomes about mobility, independence, and peace of mind. Every pound managed, every muscle strengthened, every evening spent resting instead of worrying is a victory of its own. Meghan's story can be reinterpreted for us. It is not a call to match her figure, but a call to claim our own kind of strength. Strength that allows us to live longer in our homes, laugh louder with our grandchildren, and walk further without fear. But let us not pretend the road is easy. Just as she faced critics, we face obstacles. Our joints may ache, our energy may waver, our motivation may fade when results take longer than they once did. Yet the principle is the same. Small steps, consistent care, and a willingness to adapt keep the door of transformation open. The measure of success is not applause. It is the quiet pride of knowing you are still moving forward. And here is where the conversation must continue. Meghan Trainor's story ends with her standing taller, feeling more aligned with herself. For us, the story continues in the choices we make each day. What we eat, how we move, how we speak to ourselves in the mirror. These choices, though simple, decide whether the years ahead will feel heavy or light. Her transformation can serve as a spark, but it is our responsibility to tend the flame. So let us use this moment not as the end of a story, but as the beginning of a broader journey. If a young artist can remind us that change is possible, then the question now turns to us. What changes will we dare to make in the years ahead? In the next chapter, we will look at 3 practical, senior-friendly ways to manage weight and energy without expensive treatments, so that each of us can continue building a healthier, freer life. Because the journey does not stop here, it is only unfolding. Life teaches us that transformation is never just about the surface. It is about the courage to keep moving forward, no matter the season of life we are in. Meghan Trainor's journey reminds us that change is possible, but for those of us beyond 60, the meaning of change becomes even more profound. It is no longer about chasing perfection or meeting someone else's idea of beauty. It is about choosing strength over weakness, confidence over doubt, and the freedom to live each day on our own terms. The real victory is not a number on a scale. It is the ability to wake up with energy, to move without fear, to laugh, and share life with the people we love. At this age, even the smallest step toward health and vitality can become a giant leap for our happiness. For older adults, the lesson is clear. You do not need to compete with the younger version of yourself or with anyone else. You need to focus on what truly sustains you. Simple adjustments, like eating smaller portions, walking a little further each day, or finding quiet moments to rest and release stress, can change the quality of your life in powerful ways. When you strengthen your muscles, you protect your independence. When you give your body wholesome food, you give it fuel to keep going. When you allow yourself to rest deeply, you allow your spirit to renew. These are choices within your reach, and they carry more meaning now than ever before. So here is the deeper takeaway. Transformation is not about becoming someone new, it is about becoming more of who you already are. You have lived decades of life, carrying wisdom, resilience, and courage. Use that strength to create habits that support you. Celebrate every small victory, because each one builds toward a greater freedom, the freedom to live with dignity, joy, and presence in your later years. Now let me ask you something simple. Which matters most to you at this stage of life? A, having more energy to do the things you love, or B, feeling more confident in how you look? Please write A or B in the comments below. Your answer will help inspire others who are walking the same path. If you found this video meaningful, I warmly invite you to subscribe to Beyond 60 Wisdom. Share your thoughts in the comments, let us know what you are experiencing, and pass this message along to your friends so they too can find encouragement. Every time you support us, you give us the motivation to create more heartfelt and useful videos just for you. From the bottom of my heart, thank you for being here. Let's continue this journey together, talking, learning, and growing side by side each day.